What if the greatest threat to Europe isn't just an aggressive Russia? What if the real danger lies much closer to home? In our own divisions, our own naivety, and our dependence on an ally who may no longer have our back. Recently, the Prime Minister of Belgium, Alexander de Croo, alongside his colleague Guy Verhofstadt, delivered one of the most brutally honest assessments of Europe's position in the world today.
This is not about the Baltic states, because missiles can reach in 5-10 minutes every capital of Europe. This is, by the way, the wording of Mark Rutte too. We are all affected, because this time Putin wants to challenge the democracy, our rule of law, and all these good things you mentioned. And I think we have to be aware. And why I am talking that after the peace deal, Russia will stay aggressive. You can imagine they produce enormous amounts of guns, ammunition, equipment. And do you think they will leave those goods idle when the peace deal is over? I don't think so, because we know the origin of Russia, we know their ideas, messianism idea first of all, and I think this is a matter of concern, big concern, and we are able to deal with that matter only together. So this is, for me, the heartbreaking to see the conflict between the United States and Europe, because I'm a strong believer in transatlantic bond. Yeah. My country is too.
It wasn't a message of diplomatic niceties. It was a fire alarm, and we all need to hear it. Let's break down exactly what he said and why it's so critically important. First, the Prime Minister shatters a common illusion about the war in Ukraine. He says this isn't some distant conflict confined to the Baltic states. He points out that Russian missiles can reach every capital in Europe within 5 to 10 minutes. The threat is immediate and it's aimed at everyone. But it's not just a military threat. He says Putin wants to challenge the very idea of democracy and the rule of law. But here is the most chilling part of his warning. The Prime Minister asks us to imagine what happens after a peace deal. He says, you can imagine they produce enormous amounts of guns, ammunition, equipment. And do you think they will leave those goods idle when the peace deal is over? I don't think so. This is a profound point. A war economy doesn't just switch off. Russia is building a massive military-industrial complex that will need a purpose even in peacetime. He argues that Russia's aggressive, messianistic ideology means they will continue to be a threat. The danger doesn't end when the fighting in Ukraine stops. So if the threat is permanent, the solution must be unity. But this is where the Prime Minister expresses his deepest concern. He calls the growing conflict between the United States and Europe heartbreaking and dangerous. His colleague then tells a truly shocking story. At a meeting in Paris of the Coalition of the Willing, countries gathered to support Ukraine, the American delegation's opening statement was, "We're not here to take a side, we're here to make a deal." Think about that. In a conflict between a tyrant and a democracy, the leader of the free world declares neutrality. As the speaker says, Putin sees this. This is his strength, our division. This isn't the America of the 1980s that stood for freedom and sovereignty. The Prime Minister himself notes that a recent US national strategy paper described Europe in terms that were not those of an ally or a friend. The foundation of Western security is cracking, and this leads to the most powerful part of the message. Why has Europe become so vulnerable? It comes down to one word: technology. The numbers don't lie. In 2007, Europe's economy was 10 times bigger than China's. Today, they are equal. In 2007, we were the equal of the United States. Today, they are 50% larger. The entire difference? The tech sector. The speaker puts it bluntly. We've become totally dependent on technology that we do not own and do not control. If not, Trump can do with us. He can play with us. He can make us slaves because we actually are slaves then. This isn't about one president. They stress this is a structural shift. America has turned its face to the Pacific and its back to the Atlantic. Complaining about it is useless. Europe must do its own homework. So what is the solution? It's not despair. It's a wake-up call. The message is clear. Europe cannot be a herbivore in a world of carnivores. It must rearm. It must integrate its markets. And crucially, it must build its own technological platforms to secure the prosperity of tomorrow. It must seek new alliances while strengthening old ones. In a strange, paradoxical way, the man they spend so much time worrying about might be the catalyst for Europe's salvation. As the speaker concludes, maybe in 5 years, Europe will be saying, "Thank you, Mr. Trump, for waking us up just in time to build a much stronger and united Europe." This speech wasn't a complaint. It was a declaration of intent. A realization that from now on, Europe's security and prosperity can no longer be outsourced. It must be built right here at home. What do you think? Is this the wake-up call Europe needed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that shape our world.